I have been here since 1956, the fall of 1956. I suppose that might be the year your mother was born, or your grandmother was.
So you're my mom's one.
1956, I was a first-year student. Graduated from high school in the spring of '56, and then I came here that fall and lived in Mary Hall, F13. It was the first year that Aurora Hall was occupied. I mean,
Okay.
it was that we were the first students in it. Otherwise, everybody lived in that main building, in the rotunda, where the business office is and where the offices are on third and fourth floor, and dormitories all around. Anyhow, our class, I think there was 125 in our class, and that was about equal to the enrollment in the rest of the school.
Wow.
So anyway, that was about 50, so that's 54 years ago that I came to the College of St. Benedict.
Nice. How many roles have you been in, or what different positions have you been in?
Well, I was a student. That first year I was in the college. Actually, then the next year, the fall of '57, I was a postulant in our community. Postulant means, asking to enter, whatever. So I was a sophomore in college that year. Took a full college course, but really was affiliated with the monastery. Then the next year, I was in the novitiate, which is like a new member, and we didn't take any college classes that year. We studied Latin, we studied chant, we studied scripture, the Rule of Benedict, everything about what it meant to be a Benedictine. And so then, after that year, then I made my first profession in 1959. Which was 50 years ago. So this whole year, we have been celebrating. There are 11 of us in our class, and we have been celebrating our 50-year jubilee. We feel like we can go on until the 10th of July. Then the next year gets to take over. So anyway, and this is one of my classmates that just came in, Sister Georgianne Burr. But anyway, well, what you really asked me was what positions I held. So anyway, I graduated from the college then in 1961, and I taught in 3 high schools around here, Cold Spring, Cathedral in St. Cloud, and Pierce, Minnesota. And I taught, well, altogether 7 years. Then I went on and did a master's in dietetics. Then I came back here. Actually, I think I was here one of those years in between. I was a supervisor in the cafeteria. And then I went on to do, I think then I went to Cold Spring and did a master's in dietetics at Michigan State. So when I came back, I directed the food service here for, I think, 18 years.
18 years.
And it was all here in the main building at that time. The Haynes Center had been built along the way, and also the Loft, which was another little snack place near where the swimming pool is now. I think it's where the student development offices are. I think that was a little snack bar. Anyway, while I did that, I also was a faculty resident often. That's what we called the person who lived in the dorm. So I lived in, I think that first year I was here, and in the cafeteria, I lived in the rotunda with first-year students. Then I lived in Regina, and then we had mobile homes on campus for I don't know how many years, till one of them burned, and they thought we'd better get rid of them. But a group of us sisters lived in number 60. So, and we were faculty residents for that. It would be like the community, CAs now, sort of the, because all the students, 4 students lived in every mobile home. And there must have been 16 of them there.
Yeah.
Configured in a way that they each had their own little barbecue pit and things like that. And then after they moved the mobile homes away, then I lived in Smith Apartment as a faculty resident. So all that's going on at the same time that I'm directing the food service. In addition to that, when I think back on it, when your questions made me think, how did I have energy for all of this? But I also taught one course each semester. We called it then the Home and Community Service Department. And now it is like the nutrition department kind of evolved into that. But that too was here in the main building, and I would teach one course each term in the area of food and nutrition. So, okay, then I started an MBA program at St. Thomas. They had an extension program at Chaska, Minnesota. So I went there. I think I must have taken about 6, 7 courses because I wanted to do something other than the food service. I think I was wearing out. But in the course of that time, Sister Mary Reuter, who teaches now in the theology department, was our prioress, our elected prioress. Whole community elects the leader. And so anyway, she had served 2 years of her 6-year term, and I joined her for the last 4 years of her 6-year term as personnel director, which meant that I would meet with sisters to sort of discern, is education, do they need more education, do they need a job change, you know, what is it that they would like to do, would they like to retire. It was those years that I really got to know the sisters very well. At that time, I don't think it was when I was personnel director, but then Sister Ephraim was elected prioress, and I served as sub-prioress with her for 10 years. So altogether 14 years in community leadership roles. Then, during that time, I really served on the corporate board for the College of St. Benedict. There's the board of trustees that sort of takes care of the everyday stuff, well, not everyday stuff, but the mission and so on. But as the corporate members, our role was, you know, is it Catholic, is it Benedictine, what is the mission, kind of. So I became more acquainted with the college things then. So so since 2005, I have been hospitality coordinator for our community. And so I get these emails from students who want to interview people. And this week we have students from Elk River and St. Joe Lab School coming for tours of the monastery. And a group of women from St. Joan of Arc parish in the Twin City are coming. They want to know about Liturgy of the Hours and the Psalms, and they want to know, and they're going to pray with us and have lunch with us, and then they want to spend some time at our spirituality center, and they just slid in this other question after we had made all the plans. They want someone to talk to them about how do you remain faithful in the Catholic Church with all that is going on. So that'll be a challenge to see who's going to do that. I said to the person who's doing that kind of planning, I'd have about 8 sentences I could say about that. So that brings me up to 2010.